As you lie in bed, the great hall of Camelot materializes around you. The finest knights in the land gather, their armor gleaming in flickering torchlight. A hush falls over the room as a green-skinned giant appears, his presence both awe-inspiring and unsettling. He offers a challenge that seems impossible to overcome, his voice echoing through the hall. Tonight's tale follows Sir Gawain as he faces this extraordinary situation. Feel the weight of his choices and temptations that lie ahead. Let the warmth of your blanket become Gawain's cloak, and allow the gentle rustling of leaves outside to transform into the whispers of the court. As you drift towards sleep, Sir Gawain's journey becomes a path of self-discovery, inviting you to ponder the complexities of human nature. Before we begin, let's set the stage with some deep breathing and progressive muscle relaxation. Close your eyes, if you're comfortable, and take a deep breath in through your nose. Hold it for a bit, then exhale slowly through your mouth. Repeat this with me. Breathe in, hold, and exhale slowly through your mouth. Now, scrunch up your toes, yes, your toes, tightly and hold them, all while taking a deep breath in, holding, and release and relax your toes as you exhale. Let's do this again. Breathe in and clench your toes. Hold, then exhale and release. Now, do the same with your calves. Breathe in and tense your calves. Hold, and exhale and relax your calves. Let's repeat this. So breathe in, tense, hold, and then exhale and relax. We'll do this one more time, but this time with our thighs. So breathe in while tensing your thighs. Hold, then exhale and relax. Guess what? One more time. Breathe in and tense your thighs. Hold, and exhale and relax. All right, let's start the story. The warm glow of candlelight flickers across the faces of King Arthur's knights, casting long shadows on the stone walls of Camelot's great hall. Laughter and conversation fill the room as the knights gather for their Christmas feast, unaware of the challenge that awaits them. King Arthur sits at the head of the long table, a contented smile on his face as he watches his loyal knights enjoy the festivities. Sir Gawain savors a bite of venison, closing his eyes to fully appreciate the flavors. A chill wind sweeps through the hall, causing the flames of several candles to dance wildly before extinguishing. The knights fall silent, their merriment replaced by a sense of unease. Sir Gawain shivers, feeling goosebumps rise on his arms, despite the warmth of the fire. The sound of heavy footsteps echoes from the corridor outside, growing louder with each passing moment. King Arthur leans forward in his seat, his brow furrowed as he listens intently. A hush falls over the hall as a towering figure appears in the doorway. The knights' eyes widen in disbelief at the sight before them. The newcomer's skin is an impossible shade of green, as vibrant as the leaves of a summer forest. His armor gleams in the firelight, adorned with intricate patterns. The Green Knight's piercing gaze sweeps across the room, studying each knight in turn. Sir Gawain feels his heart racing in his chest, a mix of fear and fascination coursing through him. With a booming voice that seems to shake the very foundation of the hall, the Green Knight issues his challenge. He offers to allow any knight present to strike him with his axe, on the condition that he be allowed to return the blow in 1 year's time. King Arthur's knights sit motionless, their faces a mix of shock and uncertainty. The festive atmosphere has vanished entirely, replaced by a tension so thick it could be cut with a knife. Sir Gawain feels a bead of sweat trickle down his temple as he considers the Green Knight's words. He glances around at his fellow knights, noting their hesitation. The challenge seems impossible to win, yet to refuse would be a stain on their honor. As the silence stretches on, Gawain realizes that someone must step forward, lest the reputation of Camelot's knights be forever tarnished. The weight of silence presses down on the hall. Sir Gawain's eyes dart from face to face, searching for any sign of movement. As King Arthur begins to rise, Gawain feels a surge of conflicting emotions. His heart pounds in his chest, each beat echoing in his ears. Gawain watches his fellow knights, their faces a mix of awe and fear. He feels the need to prove himself worthy of his place at the Round Table, but fear of the unknown consequences snakes through his gut. As King Arthur slowly stands, Gawain realizes he can't let his uncle face this supernatural threat. Without fully realizing what he's doing, Gawain finds himself on his feet. His voice cracks as he calls out, "My lord, I beg you, let this challenge be mine to face." The room falls into a hush so complete that Gawain can hear the crackling of the fire. Every eye in the hall turns to him, expressions ranging from shock to admiration. Gawain swallows hard, trying to steady his nerves as he steps forward. He can feel the weight of expectation pressing down on him, heavier than any armor he's ever worn. The Green Knight towers over him, a living embodiment of the unknown that Gawain now faces. "I accept your challenge," Gawain says, his voice steadier now. He takes the axe from the Green Knight's grasp, feeling its weight and power. Gawain knows that with his weapon, he holds the honor of Camelot in his hands. Gawain positions himself, preparing to deliver the blow. The hall is silent save for the soft whisper of his steady breathing. He raises the axe high, its blade gleaming in the firelight. With a swift, powerful stroke, Gawain brings the axe down upon the Green Knight's neck. The sound of metal striking flesh echoes through the hall, followed by a collective gasp from the onlookers. To Gawain's utter astonishment, the supernatural being simply bends down and picks up his own severed head. The Green Knight's eyes, still alive and piercing, lock onto Gawain's shocked face. With a voice that seems to come from everywhere and nowhere at once, the Green Knight speaks. "Well struck, young Sir Gawain. Now, as agreed, you shall receive the same blow from me 1 year hence. Seek me out at the Green Chapel, and we shall conclude our game." With these words, the Green Knight turns and strides out of the hall, his head tucked casually under his arm. Gawain stands rooted to the spot, the axe hanging limply from his hand. The reality of what he has just witnessed, and what he's committed himself to, washes over him like a cold wave. As the murmurs of astonishment begin to rise around him, Gawain realizes that his journey, his true test, has only just begun. Gawain's hand releases the axe, its clatter lost in the rising voices. A different sound grows louder for him, the ticking of an unseen clock, counting down to an uncertain fate. He thinks to himself, what does a year feel like when you know death may wait at its end? Night after night, Gawain tosses in his bed. His dreams fill with flashes of green skin and the glint of a sharp axe. He wakes with a start, his heart racing. The young knight takes a deep breath, watching the first light of dawn creep through his window. As the seasons change, Gawain falls into a rhythm of preparation. He spends hours in the practice yard, the sound of steel striking steel filling the air. Sweat beads on his brow as he pushes himself, determined to be ready. Whispers follow Gawain through the castle halls. Some speak of his bravery, others doubt his chances. He tries to ignore them, focusing on his training and the weight of his responsibility. In the quiet of the chapel, Gawain kneels daily in prayer. The soft glow of candlelight surrounds him as he seeks divine protection. He breathes in the familiar scent of incense, hoping his faith will see him through. As autumn paints the world in shades of red and gold, Gawain's anxiety grows. He watches the trees slowly bare themselves, a reminder of time's relentless march. The chill in the air seems to seep into his bones. On All Saints' Day, Gawain knows his time. He stands before his armor, each piece a familiar friend. As he dons his chainmail and plate, the metal cool against his skin, Gawain steadies his breathing. He thinks of all the preparation, all the prayers, and hopes it will be enough. The court gathers to bid Gawain farewell. King Arthur stands at the center, his face a mixture of pride and concern. Knights and ladies watch as Gawain makes his way through the crowd. Some offer words of encouragement, others simply nod. At the castle gates, Gawain pauses for one last look at Camelot. His home now seems both familiar and strange. With a deep breath, he turns to face the road ahead. The year of waiting is over. Gawain's true test is about to begin. As the first frost of winter blankets the world in white, Gawain urges his horse forward. The crunch of hooves on frozen ground breaks the eerie silence. He pulls his cloak tighter, feeling the cold against his cheeks. The familiar walls of Camelot are now far behind him, and with each step, the world grows wilder. Gawain's breath forms a small clouds as he surveys the landscape. Rolling hills give way to dense forests, their bare branches reaching towards a gray sky. He thinks to himself, I've trained for this, but the real challenges lie ahead. The weight of his armor is a constant reminder of his duty. As night falls, Gawain makes camp in a small clearing. The snap of his campfire mingles with strange noises echoing through the darkness. He sits with his back against a tree, one hand on his sword hilt. Every rustle of leaves sets his nerves on edge. Sleep comes fitfully, his dreams filled with flashes of green. With each passing day, Gawain pushes deeper into unknown lands. The terrain grows treacherous, forcing him to lead his horse through narrow mountain passes. One afternoon, he encounters a massive wolf with glowing eyes. Gawain's heart races as he draws his sword. The battle is brief but intense. Gawain's training serves him well as he delivers a killing blow. As the creature falls, he lets out a shaky breath. I've faced my first real test, he thinks, but there will be more. As weeks pass, Gawain's supplies dwindle. He rations carefully, but hunger becomes a constant companion. The lush forests give way to barren plains. Gawain shivers in his saddle, the cold seeping into his bones. Yet he presses on, determined to complete his quest. On Christmas Eve, as daylight fades, Gawain crests a hill and feels his heart leap. In the distance, he spots the tall spires of a grand castle. Relief washes over him like a warm wave. He urges his tired horse forward, hope renewed by the promise of shelter. Approaching the castle gates, Gawain is surprised by a warm welcome. The sound of laughter and music drifts out from within, a stark contrast to the silent, frozen world outside. A guard ushers him inside, where he is greeted by the castle's lord, Sir Bertilac. The smell of roasting meat and fresh bread makes Gawain's mouth water. Gawain sinks into a chair by the fire, feeling warmth seep back into his tired bones. As he looks around the festive hall, he wonders what new challenges this plate might hold. For now, though, he allows himself to relax, grateful for this moment of respite on his perilous journey. Gawain savors the aroma of roasted meats and freshly baked bread, a welcome change from his months of meager rations. The great hall buzzes with warmth and laughter as Sir Bertilac approaches with his wife. Gawain rises to greet them, feeling a mix of gratitude and unease. Sir Bertilac's voice fills the room as he welcomes Gawain, clasping the young knight's hand. "Sir Gawain, we are honored to have a knight of Camelot grace our halls," Bertilac says, his eyes twinkling with warmth. Gawain bows his head in respect, the weight of his quest heavy on his shoulders. As they settle by the roaring fire, Gawain recounts his journey and the purpose of his quest. To his surprise, Bertilac's response is enthusiastic. "What a noble quest," Bertilac exclaims. "We must ensure you are well rested and prepared for your final leg." The fire crackles softly as Bertilac's expression turns mischievous. "I have a proposition for you, Sir Gawain," he says, his voice lowering. "A game, if you will, to pass the time until your departure." Bertilac explains his idea. Each day he will go hunting while Gawain rests at the castle. In the evening they will exchange their daily winnings, whatever Bertilac catches for whatever Gawain receives at the castle. As Bertilac speaks, Gawain feels a flutter of unease in his stomach. The warmth of the fire suddenly feels stifling, and he resists the urge to loosen his collar. Bertilac watches Gawain expectantly. Gawain takes a deep breath, the scent of wood smoke filling his lungs. "Your offer is most generous, Sir Bertilac," Gawain says carefully. "I would be honored to accept." The words feel heavy on his tongue. Bertilac's face breaks into a wide grin. He extends his hand, and Gawain takes it, sealing their agreement with a firm handshake. Later, as Gawain retires to his chambers, his mind swirls with conflicting emotions. The softness of the bed beckons him, a welcome respite after months of hard travel. Yet as he settles under the warm blankets, he can't shake the feeling that tomorrow will bring unexpected challenges. Gawain closes his eyes, listening to the faint sounds of the castle settling for the night. With a final thought of remaining alert, he drifts into an uneasy sleep, his dreams filled with green-tinged visions of the path ahead. Gawain stirs from his slumber, the distant call of hunting horns drifting through the frosty morning air. He blinks slowly, taking in the unfamiliar surroundings of his guest chamber. The soft furs and silks of the bed feel luxurious against his skin. As he rises, Gawain hears the bustling activity in the courtyard below. Sir Bertilac's voice rings out as he prepares to lead the hunt. Gawain moves to the window, watching the hunting party assemble. He thinks to himself, "I should be out there with them," but remembers the terms of their agreement. Just as he finishes dressing, a soft knock at the door catches him by surprise. The lady of the castle enters, her beauty striking in the morning light. Gawain feels his heart quicken as she glides into the room, her smile warm and inviting. "Good morning, Sir Gawain," she says, her voice smooth as honey. "I hope you slept well." Gawain nods, suddenly aware of the informality of their meeting. He thinks to himself, "This is a test of my honor." As she speaks, Gawain finds himself both charmed and wary. Her eyes sparkle with mischief as she leans in, her hand brushing his arm. "Surely a knight as renowned as you has many admirers," she whispers. Gawain's mind races, torn between his duty as a guest and his vows as a knight. He takes a step back, redirecting the conversation to safer topics. "My lady, you honor me with your attention," he says carefully, "but I'm sure your husband's hunt will provide far more exciting tales than I ever could." As the day wears on, Gawain finds himself engaged in a different kind of chase. The lady's advances become bolder, testing the limits of his resolve. He parries her flirtations with courteous words and gentle deflections, all the while aware of the delicate balance he must maintain. Meanwhile, in the forest, Sir Bertilac pursues a magnificent stag. The sound of horns baying echoes through the trees as the hunting party gives chase. As the sun begins to set, both hunts draw to a close. Sir Bertilac returns triumphant, the impressive stag slung across his horse. In a moment of playful impulse, the lady bestows a quick kiss on Gawain's cheek before departing. That evening, as promised, Gawain and Bertilac exchange their winnings. Gawain passes on the kiss, thinking to himself, "The lady was as elusive as a stag, and I am determined in my resistance as Bertilac was in his pursuit." The aroma of freshly baked bread gently rouses Gawain from his slumber. He inhales deeply, savoring the comforting scent as he prepares for the day ahead. In the great hall, he hears Sir Bertilac's booming voice rallying his men for the hunt. Today, they seek a fierce boar, a quarry as dangerous as it is prized. The lady of the castle appears, her smile warm, but her eyes holding a glimmer of mischief. Her perfume, delicate yet intoxicating, fills the air between them. Throughout the morning, her advances grow bolder. Gawain finds himself struggling to maintain his composure. His response is becoming more stilted as he navigates this delicate dance of courtly love and honor. In quiet moments, Gawain's mind wanders to the Green Chapel and his impending fate. He thinks to himself, "How can I indulge in such pleasures when death may await me?" The weight of his quest presses down on him, making the lady's attentions both a welcome distraction and a source of guilt. Outside, Sir Bertilac and his hunting party pursue their quarry through dense forest. The sound of baying hounds and thundering hooves fills the air. Back in the castle, Gawain feels as though he, too, is being hunted. The lady's words are like arrows, each one aimed at finding a chink in his armor of virtue. As the day draws to a close, Sir Bertilac returns triumphant, the massive boar a testament to his skill. When the time comes to exchange their day's winnings, Gawain passes 2 kisses to Bertilac, each one a burning reminder of his near-faltering virtue. The lord accepts them with a hearty laugh, seeming oblivious to Gawain's inner turmoil. Night falls, and an unspoken tension settles over the castle. Gawain retires to his chamber, his mind awhirl with conflicting emotions. He thinks to himself, "Tomorrow brings another day of temptation. How long can I resist?" The knight closes his eyes, seeking a rest that proves elusive, as the challenges of the day play out against in his dreams. Soft footsteps echo in the hallway outside Gawain's room. His heart quickens as he realizes the lady approaches once more. On this third and final day, she brings something unexpected. Gawain sits up in bed, his hands gripping the soft blankets. He takes a deep breath, trying to calm his racing heart. The door opens slowly, and there she stands, beautiful in the morning light. "Good morning, Sir Gawain," she says, her voice smooth as silk. She glides into the room, carrying something behind her back. Gawain watches her warily, wondering what she brings. She reveals a girdle of bright green silk, embroidered with golden threads. "I have a gift for you," she says, holding it out. "This girdle can protect its wearer from harm." Gawain's breath catches in his throat. He thinks of the Green Chapel and the axe that awaits him. He reaches out, his fingers brushing the soft fabric. I cannot accept such a gift," he says, his voice wavering. The lady steps closer, the scent of lavender filling the air. "Please," she insists, "take it. Keep yourself safe." Gawain's mind races as he considers the offer. Meanwhile, in the forest, Sir Bertilac and his hunting party pursue a cunning fox. The creature darts through the underbush, always one step ahead. Bertilac urges his horse forward, determined to catch his prey. Back in the castle, Gawain's fingers close around the girdle. "Thank you, my lady," he says softly. She smiles, satisfied, and leaves him alone with his thoughts. As the day wears on, Gawain touches the silk hidden beneath his clothes. When evening falls and Bertilac returns, Gawain exchanges the kisses he received from the lady, but keeps the girdle's secret. The green girdle rests on Gawain's bedside table as he retires to his chamber. He stares at it in the dim candlelight, understanding now the complexity of honor and human frailty. Tomorrow, he will face the Green Knight. But tonight he lies awake, the weight of his choice pressing down on him in the quiet room. Gawain's fingers tremble as he fastens the green girdle around his waist. The silk whispers against his skin, a constant reminder of his shame. As he sets out into the fog-laden morning, a question lingers in his mind. Will this small act of deception be his salvation or his downfall? The thick mist clings to the ground, obscuring the path ahead. Gawain shivers, feeling the weight of anticipation settle over him like a heavy cloak. As he rides, his mind wanders to Camelot, to the warm halls and friendly faces he left behind. He wonders if he'll ever see them again. The thought makes his chest tighten, and he unconsciously touches the hidden girdle for reassurance. The sound of metal scraping against stone cuts through the silence. Gawain's heart leaps into his throat. Is that the Green Knight sharpening his axe? He thinks to himself. The noise grows louder as he presses on, each step bringing him closer to his fate. Through the swirling mist, a shape begins to emerge. Gawain realizes it's the Green Chapel, an earthen mound with a gaping entrance like the mouth of some great beast. A chill runs down his spine at the sight. He dismounts, his legs shaking beneath him. The damp grass crunches underneath his feet as he takes his first tentative steps towards the entrance. The scraping sound grows louder, echoing from within the chapel's depths. Gawain pauses at the threshold, his hand moving to the hilt of his sword. He takes a deep breath, trying to steady his nerves. The air inside the chapel is cool and damp, carrying the scent of moss and earth. Suddenly, a booming voice calls out from the shadows. So, you've come, Sir Gawain. The Green Knight emerges, his axe gleaming in what little light filters through the mist. He towers over Gawain, just as imposing as he was that fateful day in Camelot. Gawain swallows hard, forcing himself to meet the Green Knight's gaze. This is it, the moment of truth, he thinks to himself. With trembling hands, he removes his helmet and kneels before his challenger. The cold stone floor seeps through his armor, chilling him to the bone. As Gawain closes his eyes, preparing for the worst, he silently prays to the Virgin Mary for guidance and protection. The sound of the axe cutting through the air fills his ears, and he braces himself for the impact. In this moment, suspended between life and death, Gawain reflects on his journey and the choices that led him here. The cold steel of the axe brushes against Gawain's neck. He holds his breath, waiting for the blow that will end his life. The Green Knight raises the weapon high, its blade glinting in the dim light. Gawain closes his eyes, his heart pounding. The axe whistles through the air, and Gawain flinches. But the expected pain never comes. He opens his eyes to see the Green Knight standing before him, amusement in his otherworldly gaze. Gawain wonders what game this is. Twice more, the Green Knight raises the axe. Each time the blade comes down, stopping just short of Gawain's skin. On the third swing, Gawain feels a sharp sting. A thin line of blood trickles down his neck, warm against his chilled skin. Laughter echoes through the chapel, startling Gawain. The Green Knight's booming chuckle fills the space. Suddenly, the Green Knight's form begins to shimmer and change. Gawain watches in awe as the green skin fades away, revealing a familiar face. Sir Bertilac? Gawain gasps, his voice barely above a whisper. The man before him nods, a warm smile replacing the Green Knight's stern visage. Gawain's mind reels, trying to make sense of this transformation. Bertilac's voice is gentle as he explains. Yes, Gawain, it is I. The quest was a test, orchestrated by Morgan Le Fay. He reveals the true nature of the challenge, designed to test Gawain's courage, honor, and integrity. Gawain listens, the smell of moss and stone mingling with the metallic scent of his own blood. He thinks of the green girdle hidden beneath his armor, the weight of his small deception pressing down on him. As Bertilac speaks of Morgan's involvement, Gawain begins to understand the intricate web of magic and manipulation he's been caught in. The sound of dripping water somewhere in the depths of the chapel punctuates the silence between Bertilac's words. Gawain's hand unconsciously moves to his neck, touching the small cut there. He thinks to himself, all this for a test of character. The realization of how close he came to failing washes over him like a cold wave. Bertilac smiles, seeing the understanding dawn in Gawain's eyes. You've learned much on this journey, Sir Gawain, he says softly, and in doing so, you've proven yourself a true knight of Camelot. Bertilac's words hang in the air, but a weight still presses on Gawain's chest. He takes a deep breath, the damp air of the green chapel filling his lungs. With trembling fingers he reaches for the golden girdle. I have not been entirely truthful, he says, his voice barely above a whisper. As Gawain reveals the green silk, Bertilac listens intently. The young knight recounts the lady's gift in his moment of weakness. The sound of dripping water echoes in the background, punctuating the silence between his words. Bertilac nods slowly, a thoughtful expression on his face. And now you understand the true purpose of this challenge, he says gently. Gawain looks up, confusion clear in his eyes. Bertilac explains how the quest was designed to reveal the complexities of honor and human nature. As Bertilac speaks, Gawain feels a mix of emotions washing over him. He thinks of the chivalric code he's sworn to uphold and the perfect knight he's always strived to be. The smell of moss and stone surrounds him, grounding this surreal moment in reality. But don't you see, Gawain, Bertilac says, a warm smile spreading across his face. It is in acknowledging our weaknesses that we find true strength. Gawain blinks, surprised by the unexpected forgiveness. Gawain reflects on his journey, on the fears and temptations he's faced. Perhaps, he says slowly, true honor lies in striving to be better despite our flaws. Bertilac nods approvingly. You've learned the lesson well, Sir Gawain, he says. Gawain feels a warmth spreading through his chest, a sense of understanding dawning within him. He reaches for the green girdle, holding it out to Bertilac. This belongs to you, he says softly. But Bertilac shakes his head, gently pushing Gawain's hand back. Keep it, he insists. Let it serve as a reminder of what you've learned here. Gawain looks down at the silk in his hands, seeing it with new eyes. As they prepare to leave the green chapel, Gawain ties the girdle around his waist once more. This time, it doesn't feel like a burden or a secret. Instead, it's a tangible reminder of his journey, the strength found in humility. He thinks to himself, I'll wear this as a symbol of the imperfect knight I am, and the better man I strive to be. Gawain's horse's hooves echo on the cobblestones as he approaches Camelot. The familiar sound of the gates creaking open welcomes him home. He breathes in deeply, the scent of hearth fires and blooming flowers filling his lungs. His face shows the weariness of his journey, but also a newfound wisdom in his eyes. In the great hall, King Arthur sits upon his throne, his eyes warm with welcome. The room falls silent as Gawain begins his tale. He recounts the challenges of the Green Knight, the year of waiting, and his journey to the Green Chapel. His voice is steady but humble as he describes the lady's temptations and his moment of weakness with the green girdle. The sound of his heartbeat echoes in his ears as he speaks. As Gawain's tale ends, King Arthur leans forward. What meaning do we draw from this adventure, he asks, his voice carrying across the hushed hall. The knights begin to discuss, their voices a low murmur. Gawain reaches for the green girdle at his waist. He holds it out, his voice clear and strong. This girdle represents a greater truth. We are all imperfect, striving to be better. The court listens intently as he explains the significance of the girdle, a reminder of humility and the complexity of honor. A hush falls over the hall. Then Sir Lancelot stands. "Let us all wear green sashes," he says, in solidarity with Gawain, as a reminder for this lesson. The other knights nod in agreement. Gawain feels a warmth spreading through his chest as he looks around. The faces that greet him show understanding and respect. He thinks to himself, "My honesty has elevated me in their eyes." That night, as Gawain prepares for bed, he touches the green girdle once more. He smiles, knowing that his adventure has become a cherished part of Camelot's lore. As he drifts off to sleep, he feels at peace, having learned that true honor lies in the courage to face one's flaws and strive to be better. As the tale of Sir Gawain and the Green Knight fades into legend, its echoes continue to resonate through the centuries. The story whispers through time, carried on the lips of bards and preserved in the pages of manuscripts. Gawain's journey becomes a timeless exploration of human nature. The green girdle takes on a life of its own, a symbol rich with meaning. In its silken threads, people see the intertwining of honor and temptation, of courage and vulnerability. It represents the universal struggle to uphold one's principles in the face of fear and uncertainty. Scholars find new layers of meaning with each reading, debating the significance of the color green, the role of Morgan Le Fay, and the nature of the Green Knight's challenge. In quiet libraries and bustling universities, the story lives on, sparking discussions and inspiring new interpretations. Ordinary readers discover in the story a mirror for their own moral dilemmas. A young woman facing a difficult decision at work, thinking of Gawain's struggle with honesty. She wonders, what would I do if my integrity were tested? The story becomes a touchstone for examining one's own values and choices. Artists find inspiration in the legend. Painters capture the Green Knight's entrance as otherworldly presence dominating their canvases. Poets craft verses exploring Gawain's inner turmoil, giving voice to the doubts and fears that plague us all. In each new creation, the story breathes anew, speaking to contemporary audiences in surprising ways. The interpretation of Gawain's journey adapts to changing times. In periods of conflict, it becomes a tale of courage against impossible odds. During peacetime, it serves as a meditation on honor and self-reflection. The story's core truths remain relevant even as the world shifts around it. The enduring power of the tale lies in its ability to speak to the human condition. It reminds us that even the greatest heroes are flawed, that temptation and fear are universal experiences. In Gawain's struggle, we see our own battles with integrity and self-doubt. His journey becomes our journey, his lessons, our lessons. As night falls and sleep beckons, the story of Sir Gawain and the Green Knight continues to weave its spell. It invites us to imagine a world of knights and magic, of honor and challenge. But more than that, it encourages us to look within, to examine our own hearts and actions. As we drift towards sleep, we might ask ourselves, what challenges might test our own honor and courage, and how might we face them with the wisdom gained from Gawain's tale? As night falls, the tale of Sir Gawain and the Green Knight draws to a close. The story's end mirrors its beginning, like the gentle turning of seasons. You settled into your bed, the soft sheets rustling as you make yourself comfortable. Gawain's journey echoes in your mind, a reminder of the challenges we all face and the wisdom we gain along the way. The green girdle Gawain wears becomes more than just a piece of cloth. It transforms into a symbol of human imperfection, a gentle reminder that true strength lies in acknowledging our flaws. As your eyelids grow heavy, you ponder the challenges that tomorrow might bring. What tests of character await you in the coming day? Gawain's tale whispers a final lesson as sleep begins to claim you. It's not about being flawless, but about facing our weaknesses with honesty and grace. As you drift off, let the story inspire you. Tomorrow, you'll meet your own challenges with the same courage and integrity that Gawain showed in his legendary adventure.